2021. This is a list put together by Michael Alexander every week. I'll include links in the description to this list as well as the Geek List so you can take a look at them for yourselves. Again, if you like this video, please like and please subscribe. Let's get into it. So this week, there's actually a lot of interesting stuff. Let's start out with Oath. So this game was a huge game, actually about a year ago. So the delivery was really timely. Even with all the COVID and all the potential production issues, backers are getting their game, and the ratings are pretty strong. Now, this one also did have a tabletop simulator put out, so people could play it, before then. But it's gotten some pretty good ratings to start with, and I think that it's a unique game. I have a video earlier on an early playtest I did of it, and my thoughts after one play. I think the end product turned out pretty good. Although, I don't think it's my type of game. So that's Oath. And then Marvel United is interesting. It's actually been getting some better ratings here. This one, I think all the Kickstarter extras are being delivered. So we're probably going to see this thing show up in a few weeks, over the next few weeks. And number 10, so Dominant Species Marine. This is the follow-on to the big Euro ish game, Dominant Species, less players, and in the ocean, I guess, because it's marine. I think it's doing pretty good. I don't see this hitting the top 100, but I could be wrong. I just think that the number of players that are going to go out and play this are going to be limited to people that already like Dominant Species, and I just don't think there's going to be enough of them, since Dominant Species is kind of an old game now. But I could be wrong on this one. So that's Dominant Species Marine. Number 9 is Cantaloupe Book 1 Breaking into Prison. So this one we've been seeing for the last few weeks. It kind of started off a little bit weak at 7.42, but it's been doing better. So I do kind of want to look into this and see what it does differently than some other adventure games or whodunit games. This is like a almost adventure book, and I'm interested to see what's going to come out next with this. What is he going to do with the next book? Because I assume since it's called Book 1, there's going to be more. So that's number 9. No, number 8 is Stellaris. So this is interesting. Stellaris Infinite Legacy. So this is interesting. This is maybe a huge sleeper hit in terms of Kickstarter. So if people aren't aware, this came out maybe 4 weeks ago on Kickstarter, or 3 weeks ago. I think the campaign just ended. And it was pretty clear that Academy Games was not prepared for how big Stellaris is. Personally, Stellaris is one of my favorite computer games I've ever played. I probably have maybe the most hours on Steam or second most hours on Steam, but I'm a big fan of civilization games. I'm a big fan of space games that are civilization based. And Stellaris, to me, really kind of turned some of the concepts on their head and created a really engaging computer game, and probably the only multiplayer strategy game I like playing multiplayer with friends. I think it's a fun game to play cooperatively with your friends and have aliens and try to beat the crisis and really turn up the difficulty and stuff like that. And there's a lot of cool management of your civilization. What I'm wondering is this game going to be as good as the computer game? And I don't think it's clear because the information here there isn't a huge amount of information on it. It does look really cool. And if there's one thing I love, is simultaneous action selection. And actually the look of this I think is really good with these tokens. I don't know what they're planning on doing with them. I mean, I don't think there's instructions for the game. They have very surprisingly limited information for what this game is out there. But I took the risk on it. I ended up backing it, and I will see what happens with it, because I backed it because I like Stellaris. I don't know. I don't think if you didn't like Stellaris, this probably may not be a very good back for you. And I'm even questioning whether it's a great back, just because I don't see how it can be the complexity that it seems like they're planning can fit into the time limit that they have, which they're saying a 2-hour 4-player simultaneous action selection game. I also do think their ship miniatures don't look the best. Yeah, I think they are based on the miniatures in the game, but they could have picked cooler looking miniatures. I know you have to have humans in there, but the lithoid ships I think are much better looking. Anyway, that's for me. I'm interested to see what it does. As people said here, it is simply on here because of the buzz, and with not that good of ratings. But I mean, that's typical of a Kickstarter starter game. And as Sean here said, not out, so this is dubious at best. I am excited for it, but I think maybe 50-50 if it'll actually be a good game or not. So that's Stellaris, Infinite Legacy. Number 8. Number 7, Crew, Mission Deep Sea. So I didn't even know this was coming out, but I mean, you always have to make a successor to such a amazing game. I can't say enough good things about the Crew. I'm assuming this is going to be just more of the same thing. I mean, the Crew is really themeless, so it could be, deep sea. It could be, jungle, or it could be whatever, right? Doesn't really matter. The mechanism here is that it's a cooperative trick-taking game that kind of turns what you think about trick-taking games on your head. And for people like me that don't like trick-taking at all, it's a really cool way of doing it. And I think it just works for a lot of people. Now, the more people you have, the more difficult it gets. So, these type of games are best for most people, probably with 3 or 4 players. The missions get kind of crazy when you get higher than that. So that is the Crew, Mission Deep Sea. I think it'll do well. I don't know if it'll do better than the Crew Quest for Planet 9, which I think is top 100 already. Yeah, which I think it deserves for such a unique take on what I felt like is if you like trick-taking games, feel free to comment below. But what I feel like is an old genre that just was worn out. This brought new life into it and was an exceptionally good game. I couldn't actually believe how good it was after playing it. It is amazing. So that is 7, the Crew 2.0, I guess. Number 6, the Lost Ruins Arnak. So this one kicked it up a notch and is rocketing its way into the top 100. So it's already at 149. It's gotten another good solid ratings. I don't see how it's not going to make the top 100, as we talked about earlier. I think that a lot of people really like the worker placement deck building, which isn't surprising. You take 2 mechanisms that people really love and you put them together. I think it's going to work for a lot of people, and I think it's a solid game. I'm interested in trying Dune Imperium. I think the ratings are a little bit higher for that one, and I think it may appeal more to me, and especially with the deluxe pack, although it's a little bit expensive, I think the Dune Imperium might be a better game for me, at least. So this is number 6, Lost Ruins of Arnak. We'll probably see this in the top 100, maybe 4 weeks, I think, at the rate it's going. Number 5, Red Rising. So this one is doing pretty well. I think I am interested in playing this. I don't know if I'll actually buy it, although I don't know anyone. I'm pretty sure I know someone that will end up getting Red Rising. Because I like Fantasy Realms, but I don't really bust out or play Fantasy Realms that often. I am interested to see Jamie's take on this game, because I think he's got some unique ways of designing. I think he designs a game that is generally pretty solid and has a lot of good gameplay elements into it. I think Pendulum, I guess he didn't design it, but he helped structure it into a game. And even Tapestry, I think, was a really solid game. I really like the solo mode on Tapestry, and I'm interested to see what Red Rising. I like Charterstone as well, and I think Charterstone wasn't. I think some people liked it, other people didn't. I do think it probably should have been 8 scenarios instead of 10, but I think it was 10, yeah. But minus that, I think the production value was amazing. I think the gameplay worked out really well. I like the fact it was so quick, and I think he's got a lot of good design philosophies in his games. So that is number 5, Red Rising. Number 4, Cubitos. So this is not too surprising. I think Cubitos is sold out everywhere now that Shut Up and Sit Down had a pretty solid review for it. And I think that may be enough to propel it into the top 100. We'll have to see. The ratings are still a little marginal here, but getting a really solid review from a big reviewer like that takes games from being mediocre sales to, exceptionally well or exceptionally big sales. And that may happen with Cubitos. I think it's a good looking game. I think people really like to push your luck after Quacks. I don't know if it's better than Quacks, but I do think it is appealing because you have a little bit more choices in it with your dice pool changes. And everyone, including myself, loves rolling dice. So that is Cubitos for 4. Number 3, Adventures of Robin Hood. So this is interesting. This one showed up twice. And I don't think Adventures of Robin Hood is out in the US yet. I don't see any images. Let's see here. I got German images, Spielbox, yeah. So this is, I don't even know if it's out. Although this person has, yeah. So some people in somewhere must have this. I don't know where he's at. 1, Germany. Okay, so probably just out in Germany. I think it's going to do well. I don't think that this is going to make it in the top 100 just because it's a rehashing of an existing mechanism. Possible they've refined it or added something to it that's going to make it really appealing. It is doing pretty well in its opening weeks, though. And everyone does like Robin Hood, so maybe. But we'll have to keep watching this and see what happens. So that's number 3, The Adventures of Robin Hood. Number 2, Rocket Man. So this is Martin Wallace's game, and it must be getting delivered to backers with kind of marginal ratings. Now, Martin Wallace is design fame of Brass and his, refined Brass Birmingham, which is, I think, considered his best game. And actually, number 3 on the BGG Top 100 now, I think, which is an amazing accomplishment. And this is his, I guess, a fast-paced game. I can't imagine I guess it is, yeah, the playtime's pretty fast. And good-looking game. And this came out with, I think there was like a number of space games, like rocket games that came out around the time. I think this was when, just after SpaceX took off and people were getting really interested in space exploration again and rockets. So I think the game looks pretty good. Doesn't look like Brass Birmingham good, but doesn't look bad. I think, especially at it, I don't think it's a super expensive game. $29.99. It was a Kickstarter game, and it's got deck building, card drafting, etc. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how it looks. One of my theories on Martin Wallace, though, is that he designed some really solid games, but it's almost a game that takes someone to refine it and takes like the core ideas and kind of improves upon it a little bit. Like you take Brass, which is a good game, and you turn it to like Brass Birmingham, which is kind of takes it up a new level with a better looking game, some simplified mechanisms, which I still think I wish they could have figured out a way to simplify the route information, like make it just even simpler. But or the connection information, because there's like 2 different systems or 3 different systems for doing connections and where you can send stuff. I think it would have been easier. It made it for a better game if that was a little bit simpler. But outside of that, taking a game and kind of refining it a little bit and taking it to the next level. I don't know if we'll see that with this one, since it's so early in the production, or I guess it hasn't even been released outside Kickstarter. It'll be interesting to see. I do like the box cover, though. I think it looks really good. I think the cards are a little bit but the board looks good, and the miniatures look good, which probably, I don't know what's included in the retail version, but maybe the miniatures are, or maybe they aren't. So that is number 2, Rocket Man. And we'll probably be seeing more of this. It's hard to say how accurate this rating is, although it does seem like people are getting it. So, and number 1 is Burgle Brothers 2. So I don't think we've seen this on the list yet. This looks like it's been starting to deliver. I think this was a Kickstarter. So this is the follow-on to Burgle Brothers. Let's see here. Yeah, Kickstarter. So Burgle Brothers was this kind of maze, 3-dimensional maze exploration game. And this is the second version of it. Wow, that's a really cool looking Burgle Brothers with the light up stand. So in this one, I think it's got the same idea where you're basically trying to evade you're trying to steal something and evade the police, and there's some rules for how the police move, and you have to distract them and stuff. I would say, again, a cooperative game. I haven't actually played Burgle Brothers, but I think the 3-dimensional nature is something people really like. And then it looks like, let's see what's in here. So we have new gear, new tiles, bouncers, chips, finales, and campaign mode. So that's kind of interesting. I think if you like Burgle Brothers, this is probably going to be more Burgle Brothers and something that's going to do really well in your group. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you hadn't gotten Burgle Brothers and you wanted to get Burgle Brothers 2, that's probably another good reason to get it if you want to try out this, this genre or this game. But I do think there's been more of these games coming out of this style. Maybe not in 3-dimensional, but of this style. I do like the artwork though. So I don't think we're gonna see this in the top 100. I don't think the Burgle Brothers even made the top 100. Yeah, I made 241. So I don't foresee us getting Burgle Brothers 2 into the top 100, but maybe if people that already like Burgle Brothers buy it, it might see that. I'm guessing it'll probably be in the same range, like 250, 300-ish. So there's that. All right, well, thank you for joining in this week. And again, if you like this video, please like and subscribe and check us out every week. Thank you.